Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network. Hopefully, everybody's doing well today. Here we are again, having another lovely interview with some wonderful woman. She's also in my cohort with Amos, so that's always fun too, right? We support each other, we love each other, we're helping each other, but at the same time, she has amazing things to offer, and I would love for you to know about it. So, welcome here, Cindy. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Wonderful, wonderful. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you? I know I'll let you pronounce your last name because I always get those mixed up. And where you are in the world.
My name is Cindy Gould and I live in the Pacific Northwest in the United States, up in Washington, which is great. I love it up here. It's beautiful. Originally, I'm Hawaiian and Sicilian, and so I kind of grew up more on the beach side of life. A lot of my life was spent at the beach, and if I can't have the ocean, I'll live in these trees because it's just breathtaking here. And I am a victorious life coach, hence the name, the Victory Network. And what that means is, I'm an expert in fear mitigation, fear obliteration, and fear replacement. I am a neuroencoding specialist. And what that means to you is that I help you to basically reprogram your brain, your mind, and your nervous system so that you default to your best choices. And it's pretty fun. And at the Victory Network, and what I do as a victorious life coach is to help you create victory in every area of your life. And you come from a place of victory, not striving for victory. And so it's a blast. It's just so much fun. I love it. I love seeing my clients just transform. It's a blast.
Right? Yes, beautiful. Yes. And I was lucky enough to be a guest on your other show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I get to do these on the Victory Network, and then I also I have a TV show called Create Your Victorious Life, and I'm pretty excited about it. We do about 3.3 million people that follow us or watch the show every week, and I'm excited to have you as a guest on there talking about the Women's Wellness Network because that's going to be fabulous. And it was fun having you there, on the Victory Network. My show launched last May and it's just growing a bunch, and it's just neat because what I do is, and if any of you that are here in the Wellness Network, if you have a story that you'd like to share, by all means, come to the Victory Network, or if it's something you want on the show, the TV show, please reach out to me because what I basically showcase is ways that people have gone from tragedy to triumph, or where they've created victory in their life in one area or in their whole life as a whole, and how they did that so that other people can learn from you and not maybe have to make some of the same tough choices, or maybe there's people like for myself, how to create joy in your life when your whole life blows up. And I'm sure some of you women have experienced the blowing up part, and so that's what it's about. So it's pretty exciting.
Yes, it's super exciting. It's super exciting. It's about time we have some of these places to go and hang out and see and glean others' lessons so we don't have to live through them, or at least live through them as long as maybe they had to, right? Getting
Yeah.
some information. And who doesn't want to be victorious?
Exactly. Who doesn't want to win, right?
Right. Absolutely. My goodness. So what prompted you to begin the Victory Network to begin with?
Well, for me, the actual Victory Network and doing this when, we're both part of the same cohort. So what I really wanted to do was to create a group where people could come and really get tips, tools, and techniques to be victorious in their life, because so many people are stuck and just, they get to a certain spot. I was just talking to a new client right before I climbed on today, and she's by all means so successful in her life. She's at the top of her nursing career in a really prominent hospital. And she has a church with her husband that they pastor, just all these things. And yet she's got these other things that are in her life that she knows, in order to stay in alignment with my assignment, basically, and do what God's purposed me to do, I need to kind of make a shift. And these other places are great and I love it, but I know that my soul is saying, hey, your purpose to do this. And then she feels stuck. And part of that is worthiness. Part of that is, just feeling her own value. A big part of that is fear. And so I created the Victory Network. Really, like with my coaching, one of the first things we do is we figure out who you are, why you're here. Like, who are you, Tammy, right? Why are you here? And then what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do about it? And then we strategize. Part of it is that I am a reinvention strategist. And so we literally strategize how you're going to reinvent your life. Now, not reinvent you, but actually be the real you so that the rest of your life lines up with who you really are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, we can like help find our original path, our original goal, our original being.
Yeah. Because you might, I find that there's a lot of people that are even in a job, they had a family, they had to take care of their family and they did super well in their job and there was nothing wrong with their job. They had great people they work with, they're making killer money, all the things, right? And yet their spirit knows, hey, I'm not like in alignment here. And it's hard to walk away from that kind of stuff,
For sure.
even though you know that you need to pivot. And so it's really a way to, well, how do you do it? And how do you chunk it out and make sure that you're able to do those things and to really have joy in your life? Because victory is really the ultimate prize of joy. If you're joyful, victory is like, it's a no-brainer, it just happens, right? Does
Yeah,
that make
it's just
sense?
right there. Yeah, it's just right there. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Uh, being joyous is probably, well, it's got to be one of the best things there is.
Mm.
Ultimately, being happy, being enjoying your life. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So how did you get started being a coach? Did you start with neuroencoding first or?
Yes, well, as far as being like technically certified, yes. Did I coach before that? Yeah. Because I was in executive management before and then had my own a couple of companies actually that I did and so I was constantly coaching people, and consistently doing that and then even through some ministry things too and doing the same kind of thing. Well, when I met Joseph McClendon III, my mentor, I went to UPW, Tony Robbins event, his signature event in November of 2019 in Miami. And when Joseph, and those of any of my friends that are neuroencoding know my story, because Joseph walks out on stage and I'm like, what the heck is that? I paid for Tony and who's this guy? And I was like frustrated, right? And then the more that he talked, I'm like, oh my gosh, who is that? I need to learn what he's doing. And he's been doing this for so many years and over 30, maybe 35 years that he's been. And so then he and Dr. Daniel Amen came out with a program in April of 2021 was when they offered it to, and so I became a founding member. And so I became certified and licensed to teach a lot of Joseph's package type things, webinars, that kind of stuff. And certified as a coach and a public speaker and presenter through the Neuroencoding Institute. And then I also became a brain health coach with Dr. Daniel Amen. And then most recently, decided to jump in with one of our close friends and one of my besties of all time, Yayoi Kumiyama. Yep, I jumped in with her in the John Maxwell world. And so recently was able to get my certification there. So also with Steve Linder and NLP. I mean, there's just a lot of things, but it all basically leads to the same thing. The things that I'm learning are really to help any of my clients to really just do what they came here to do and to live on this earth to do that. And I went through some pretty traumatic things that caused me to create that as my focus.
Mhm.
And that's really why I decided, you know what, people come down here and they chicken out
Mm,
and they don't do what they really came here to do. A lot of people Well, the statistics say 98% of the people that come to this planet don't do what they came here to do. 98%. That
Whoa.
means out of every 100 people, if you and I are in a room of 100 people, only you and I are going to be the two that do it. The other 98 aren't. That's not acceptable to me.
No.
Like, and it's because they're afraid and they get stuck and they don't know how to move past it. And basically what neuroencoding does is we teach you how to obliterate that, and to replace it with other things so that you really do what you came here to do. So it's pretty
Oh,
fun.
yeah, that's awesome. Right. That's astounding, really, 98%. Holy smokes. I mean, I totally get it because it's not easy. It's not easy getting there. It's not easy even wanting to start to get there.
Right. Right. Well, and you know that even in your own life, right? And then the things that have happened in your life, and I know from even just spending time with you the other day, just the things that we can use as reasons. So if you put that into practical terms, like even in bigger numbers, there's over 8 billion people on the planet right now. So let's just take the number 8 billion. 7,840,000,000 people will leave this planet having not done what they came here to do. Now, I would submit to you that if people did step up and step in to who they really are and really showed up, we wouldn't have wars. We
Right.
wouldn't have issues. We wouldn't have unkindness. We wouldn't have the things that we have now. We'd probably have a beautiful, harmonious world if everybody showed up as who they're supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's just, I know it's my hallucination, but I'm thinking, holy cow, that's almost 8 billion people that aren't doing it,
Right. Well,
right?
and I mean, we can see, we know, and people know, they know they're not doing it. They know they're not stepping up. And it's, like I said, it's tough and it's hard. And yeah, we don't want to be out of our comfort zone, even though it's totally uncomfortable and we're not, you got to follow that lead down. Follow it
Oh boy.
down.
Well, sometimes things happen in your life and you know that, and I know that from my own life, and I'm happy to share if you want me to,
Sure, if
but
you're
sometimes
comfortable, whatever you want to
oh,
share, Cindy.
100%. Well, people don't even want to get out of bed. Like, I mean, and what's so great, I would say, about what happened in COVID and not great at the same time is we created this mode of communication through online. I mean, yes, I have real clothes on, but I mean, I was on with somebody, with a man one time that let me grab that document and stood up. And he was in his freaking boxers and forgot he was in his boxers. And you can't unsee that, right? So I'm like, oh, what do I do to not make him feel awkward? And then, and I'm like, okay, could you just sit down? You know, but we live in this world now that we can hide behind things and it's very real. Like we don't want to get out of bed some days, like in my situation is I shared. So I joined the Neuroencoding Institute in April of 2021. And 2 weeks later, I moved out of my home and filed for divorce, not because of that. It was already coming.
Right.
And there was addiction and other things involved. And it wasn't safe for me anymore. And so I moved out. And then fast forward to the end of July of 2021. And one of my children, my son, Mana, five beautiful children, beautiful marriage. And I was living with him when I moved out of my home, which was a really cool, tender mercy that God gave me, because what mom gets that. But he got sick, never even had a cold, like never been sick like a day in his life from when he was a child or anything. And 2 weeks later, August 7th, he moved back home to heaven
Wow.
unexpectedly. And from August until March, so over 7 months, I had 8 loved ones, including my father, my best friend of 20 years, a cousin that was like a brother, an aunt, another best friend of 5 years. All of them unexpectedly moved back home to heaven in 7 months, plus my divorce was final.
Wow.
So yeah, and you know what? Here's what I know for sure. It made me really think about why are we here? Like I joke around, but I really did think one day, like, what do they do up there all day? Like, and I mean it, like, do they have Taco Tuesday? I hope I get to eat tacos. And do I get Hawaiian food? And I'd love some good meatballs. And I mean, seriously, right? Because we only have this frame of reference consciously while we're in our bodies. And then I started thinking about what they did on this earth while they were here. And with the exception of, well, my father was almost 90, you know, and lived a wonderful life. And I know that he wasn't sick or anything. So I know that he still wanted to still do things, right? And there, I wondered, out of the 8 people, well, where did they fit in that 98%?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what birthed my why. It's like, no, I want to really not just be a joy catalyst for people, because I know joy is really where you're going to find your victory, right? Whatever, if you need my help, let's go. You know, and so I created my coaching, I crafted my whole coaching packages for that reason. And to like say, hey, you're afraid of that? Okay, girlfriend, give me your hand. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this. You know, because there's so many things, like you think of things. I know there's women that are watching right now that have ideas for jewelry or for candles or for creating an organization company, or you've got like this crazy invention, or you know, you want to have an impact somewhere. Let's go. Like, really, that's where I'm at with it. It's like, come on already, you know, because the world's waiting for you to show up.
Oh,
And
that's
and right, in your beauty and in your glory and your magnificence and in your story, and do not be ashamed. Like, I know the women that are watching now or in the future, over half of us are going to say, yep, sexually abused as a kid. You know, it doesn't have to be a family member. Me too, and not a family member. Yep, you know, whether you were an organized religion, not organized religion, you know, your parents did the best they could, and some of you had lived in the land of suck, where parents were concerned, or, you know, didn't hit the parent lottery, or, and okay, and how do we fix that for our children, right?
yeah.
Or what if it's, you know, or you have cruddy jobs, or you've had bigotry. Like, I mean, it's interesting because for me, my parents moved us to Utah when I was young, and I went from living in, you know, with Hawaiian hair, and my skin was darker as a child. The more children I had, it kind of lightened up. So weird. But I know it's like, but even in that, I lived with so much bias and bigotry as a child, which was so shocking to me, because I remember, you know, going to school the first day, and I was so excited, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna meet new friends and all this stuff. And I had lived with so much diversity, it didn't occur to me that I would be the only child with, like, so my hair, I blow it out, but each strand is a ringlet. So in the humidity, I've got like this Diana Ross do, you know, thank goodness for products. Yeah. And I don't have to iron it on an ironing board between a towel anymore, right? And so, but I go to this, right? You've been there, but I go to this school, and, you know, I'm the only child that looks like I do, and everybody else looks like Farrah Fawcett and, you know, or Ryan O'Neal, and, you know, the blondies, and, you know, the whole thing, which is not bad, beautiful people. However, I didn't realize I had these 2 girls that walked in and pointed in my direction, and I'm like, oh, they're going to be my friends, you know, and I heard them say, oh my gosh, we've got one of those in our class. And I looked behind me like, what are they talking about? And here I'm like 11, 10 and 11 years old, and so excited to make friends. Immediately that impacted me,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because I didn't know what that was. And then it's interesting how you craft your life around some of that stuff, right? And then fast forward, well, now I'm kind of in a place where, yeehaw, I'm one of those, right? You know, like and I'm so grateful for that, and, you know, healed over that years ago. But just, I say that because there's women on here that are still stuck in that story, and you don't even know, because it's been a hum and a thread in the tapestry of your life that you didn't even know was woven in there. You don't consciously even remember that it's there, because your unconscious remembers everything. Or some teacher said some unkind thing, or your parent, you know, had a bad day and they said something cruddy to you, and all of those things are locked and loaded in your body and in your unconscious, and you walk your life out in that way of, you know, whatever, whether you know, like me, I've released 130 pounds, which is like a whole person, right? Well, right. And when I had all those people leave the planet at the same time, I had already released a lot of that weight. And I kept my other son, Nicholas, so beautifully called it sad fat.
Aw.
And he Right. But it is that, right?
Yeah.
But the more that I had forgiveness or realized what I was sad about, the more that it left. And I did other things too. I mean, to release the weight, but I'm just saying to keep it off. Well, when the people left the planet, I'm thinking, holy cow, I don't want to have sad fat, and I was sadder than I'd ever been in my whole freaking life. So what was beautiful about that is because I had already recognized it and healed through the other things.
Mm.
I've just continued to release the weight, which is great. Which again is something that we can share with the ladies in your network. It's like, hey guys, we've all been there, man. You felt ashamed, you felt shunned, or you've been in abuse, whether it was with a spouse or a boyfriend or, or girlfriend or whatever it is, we've all had stuff. Okay. So how are you going to repurpose that pain and make it a purpose and put it out there where you can share with others and give them the freedom that you now have because you've healed from that, right? And to me, when you're in that kind of joy, that's where you get your victory.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh,
I know. I'm feeling it and I'm so grateful. Thanks for
oh
letting me
my
share.
goodness, Cindy. Yeah, just so much, right? And it's almost like, you know, Gus says, I think everybody's starting to get my Gus thing on Women's
On
Wellness
that
Network.
Gus bus.
The Gus bus, right? So Gus says, "Oh, Cindy's going to have to go through these things, so let's put her into this line of thought and healing so that she's prepared when it comes to time." And you look like you've managed to, get through. I'm sure it's not always been easy, of course. It's probably still some sad days, but man, to be able to live a victorious life and be joyful about it, no matter what has happened, that is kind of where we need to be. I need to be as a human.
Yeah. And you do it. I mean, I know your story, Tammy, parts of it. I only know a snippet of it, like 30 minutes, and you do that. And thank you. I see things as, I know that people say, this happened to me. And then Tony Robbins says this happened for me, right? Well, I see it like kind of like what you said in a way. Things happen not just for me, but because of me.
Yeah.
And when you can own it in that regard, and like I get to go through, like, no, I'm not saying having one of your children not be here. I actually have 3 sons that are already in heaven. So, and having that be a thing, right? No, that sucks. Like, and I don't have bad days ever. I do have bad moments.
Right.
And the beauty of neuroencoding is that I have encoded myself. I've hardwired my brain for gratitude and joy. And it's a hardwire. It's like a legit, kind of like your house is hardwired for your electricity. I'm hardwired for that. Now, I teach people how to do that, which I've learned through neuroencoding. However, that doesn't mean I don't grieve. I have moments where, gosh, even recently where I think about something with my child and I can even hear him on his voice and, and he'll say, okay, mama, it's okay, or whatever. And the floodgates will come and I tease about it being like in Hawaii, sunny day. And all of a sudden you're on the beach and you're laying in rain and it's gone as fast as it's there. There was not even a cloud in the sky. Like, where did it come from? And then it just moves past you. That's where my grief is. Like I allow myself to feel it. It's important. Do not stuff that because that's where you get the sad fat. And I allow myself to feel it and whatever to say out loud, whatever I need to move my body, if I need to be on my rebounder, whatever I have to do to move it. But then it's almost as quickly as it came. My brain is so wired like, and I'm instantly like in joy. So in the joy spot, meaning then I'm laughing about something that he and I did together, or I'm, laughing about something my father was like so cool. And he literally for I would say 30 to 35 years, the last 30 years of his life, he called me every day, once or twice a day. And there's 7 of us kids. And he would call and just, and what you making for dinner tonight, Punani? Hey, how did Nick do in that football game? What's Mana up to? What's Olivia doing? What about Jess? I mean, he would ask about everybody, on the list, and then it always ended up with food. Like, what are you making? Well, and then when he found out about Uber, he's like, well, that Uber thing, how about we Uber me some sushi? Right? And how cool, right? And I miss those calls.
Yeah.
But when he didn't reach me and he'd leave me a message, like one time, he's so funny. Hey, this is Jake from State Farm. What you doing? I'm just like, Dad, it's so funny.
That's awesome.
I know, but it's like that kind of stuff. And when you're hardwired for joy or gratitude, those are the things that pop in, or, what I'm grateful for, so that it shifts me from being sad. Again, I acknowledge that sad. I don't dismiss it like that, but I'm wired to not stay stuck there.
Yeah.
So that I can still do my life the way I need to do it and show up for the people I need to show up for.
Beautiful. And you're doing that so wonderfully. So wonderfully. Even though your Victory Network is the newest of the bunch, you're doing amazing. You're going to be doing amazing things. And man, yeah, it's pretty exciting to think what's going to be happening in the future, because the sky's the limit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We're 8 days in, so I've got some catching up to do with you and the rest of the people in the cohort. I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful that we're aligned. You're so easy to love and so easy to be in line with to do this. And, I love the way that God and Gus, as you would put it, put us all on the same bus together to do this so that we can.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Right. So if people would like to connect with you, how can they find you?
So my group, of course, Facebook forward dash, or forward slash, facebook.com/the Victory Network, or Cindy Gould, just like in my name, my picture's on my thing, and you can certainly reach out there. I would love to have you join the group. I would love to have you interview here, or if you have something that you'd like to take to a bigger audience, by all means, reach out to me for my TV show. I'm always looking for wonderful guests to have and to promote. And that's the easy place to find me there on either of those. On Create Your Victorious Life, we're on the Zingo TV channels 250 and 251 every Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, or on my YouTube channel to Create Your Victorious Life. So I just started that channel, so I'm like, I'm kind of like everybody else. Another social media, here we go,
Right? Oh my word. Well, at least some things we can now take from one thing and put it to the other thing, which with more ease than it was before, which is, I'm thankful for that very much.
Me too, so much so. And I'm thankful for you. Thanks for having me and letting me share snippets of my story. And
thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, Cindy. It's nice to get to know you and see your beautiful heart. And it's super easy to do that with this. I've never met you in person, and I get who Cindy is, I think. So I think everybody else will see too. So Women's Wellness Network, if you'd like to connect with Cindy, we're going to put the information in the comments so that you'll be able to reach her. And we'll make sure we get it all spelt correctly, so we get the right Cindy, because that's important. I think that's important. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on today, Cindy. It was really lovely to have you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And Women's
Bye.
Wellness Network, until next time, be well.
Yes.